Taylor Guitars has released a new guitar, the AD22e, which joins its American Dream lineup. Stay tuned because today we're going to tell you all about it and give you our first impressions. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name's Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We're here with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, visit our Teespring store linked below for our custom designed t-shirts. And you're Cooper Greenberg. That was like very matter of fact.
It's a fact.
Just get right to it.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Well, that's good. It is a fantastic truth, Mr. Coop DeVille. All right, so we have a new guitar, the Taylor AD22e, which is part of the American Dream, and they are dreamy. But if you don't know from our previous videos or any of the stuff Taylor's released, that name actually comes from the beginnings of the factory, of the shop. Bob Taylor and Kurt Lustig were originally working in a small guitar hippie shop called American Dream. And they ended up buying out Sam Radding, the owner, and it became Taylor Guitars, and the rest, as they say, is history. And so as an homage to those early beginnings, last year they came out with the American Dream line, which was pretty much Grand Pacific models.
Yeah.
The AD17, the AD17 Blacktop, the AD27, and this is more like the AD27, just in Grand Concert. And what Taylor is saying is this is the first Grand Concert to join the American Dream line. Some people have been confused by that. Do you know why?
I think that's a lie.
It's not entirely true. I mean, it's kind of true. So there was another AD12, but it was a Guitar Center exclusive.
Did they just have the black top on that
black
one?
top with striped ebony back and sides. And so I guess, yes, it's the first Grand Concert available to everybody that doesn't shop at Guitar Center, which means you. So anyways, we're going to give you kind of a rundown. It's a lot like the AD27, just really in a different body. But we're going to go through the specs with you and give you our first impressions.
Yeah, so I'll be honest with you. With the American Dreams, AD17, AD27, I do get a little confused with the wood pairings. So give me a refresher, because I'm guessing that's a sapele top?
It's a mahogany top.
Okay.
And the back and sides are sapele.
Okay.
That also is a distinction between what's available in the 80s or the American Dream series versus the 300 series. Because if you compare this, you might at first blush say, oh, it's a lot like a 322. In the AD27, you might say, oh, it's a lot like a 327. But the key distinctions are in some of the features and also the wood pairings. So with the 300 series, it would be mahogany and Tasmanian blackwood. But in the American Dream, it's pairing mahogany with sapele.
Cool.
Yeah.
And do the American Dreams make use of eucalyptus?
Yep.
So nice smoked eucalyptus.
You can put it in the shower and it smells great.
Yeah, it's like a big loofah. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I think that's an interesting distinction, like we talked about in the previous video. It's great for what it is. It looks nice, feels nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I wonder, I'm sure there's probably been some small luthiers that have used it. I'm not aware of a large guitar company previously using eucalyptus. But my understanding from Andy Powers is it's great, it works great, it holds the frets really well, it looks good. I mean, really when it comes down to the fretboard material, this is what you're looking for. Workability, retention of frets, and appearance and feel. And it hits all of those, so.
Yeah, it's even more ebony than ebony in appearance. Pretty nice, very nice.
Yeah, it doesn't have the stripiness, so yeah, it's darker and more uniform for sure. So let's talk about some of the other specs. So it is a Grand Concert body that is the smallest full-size body shape that Taylor makes, unless you want to call the GT a full-size body shape, in which case they're very close anyway. But it is a small body shape. It is one of the original body shapes Taylor has had since they started the company way back in the 70s. And it is really designed to be an intimate guitar. It excels at like fingerstyle and light to medium strumming. If you're looking for a guitar that you want to like chop wood on and just really heavy pick attack, probably not for you. You want a bigger body guitar to give you the volume. what this doesn't have in volume, it makes up for in response, which is really fantastic. It's got a shorter scale length to go with that smaller body shape. So on this guitar, you're looking at 24 7/8 of an inch on the scale length versus 25.5 inches. And if you're used to that, we actually found while I was playing this guitar, I wasn't used to that. Most of my guitars are longer scale length, and there's certain things that I would hit the wrong note on because I'm not used to it. But I actually enjoy the feel of a shorter scale length.
Yeah, I think it's, it just takes some adjustment if you're used to it, but if you're playing it a few minutes longer, it's just a different feel, but it's nice.
It's a different tone too, and we did a video way back when with two Martin guitars to demonstrate this because an OM28 and a triple O28 are very, very similar except for the thickness of the bracing and the scale length. And when you have a shorter scale length guitar, you have a warmer sound because all of the harmonics are basically squeezed together in a tighter space. So you get a slinkier feel, you get a warmer sound. That is accentuated here because, like we already talked about with the tone woods, you've got a mahogany top and sapele back inside. So mahogany tops, what do they do on an acoustic guitar?
It's the mid-range monster.
It is a mid-range monster, yeah.
First of all, before we get into that, American Dream, all solid wood, right?
All solid wood.
It's
yeah,
not
US made.
layered sapele, but it's nice because it's solid wood, which at the price point is special and cool.
Yep.
So yeah, tell me what you're leading towards with the mahogany top, because when I think of it, I think about mid-range, I think about all that kind of response and everything, but what jumps out to you?
Well, mahogany period is mid-range, right?
Yeah.
So if it's on the back and sides of a guitar, you're going to have a very warm sounding guitar.
Yeah.
It's got a peaked mid-range, and it doesn't have a lot of bass and it doesn't have a lot of treble. So it really sits there in the warmth area of kind of EQ.
Yeah.
Now, sapele is kind of like that with a little bit more brightness. So the way that they've done this guitar pairing sapele for the back and sides is you've got kind of a flat EQ response with a bit of brightness, and then you've paired that with that warmth that you expect from mahogany. When you use it as a top wood, it's a lot more dense than spruce.
Yeah.
It's what we would call a hard wood. And so it is going to have some natural compression. You're not going to have the dynamic range that you would with spruce. And what I mean by that is if you play softly, it gets soft, and if you play hard or loudly, it gets louder. That's how spruce responds. It's kind of this linear response to how you play. A hardwood like mahogany doesn't do that.
Yeah.
It compresses things, and what that means is that your peaks and your valleys are brought in like this. And so it evens out a lot of the volume of what you're playing. Now that actually increases that warmth response that we expect from mahogany, and then if you lay into it, you get this kind of squishiness like a good tube amp gives you that really rounds out the sound. One of the things that can't get captured in the demos that we do is some of the little artifacts that you pick up from your ears.
Yeah.
And on a mahogany top guitar, particularly this one playing it today, one of those artifacts I pick up is this like tubiness that comes right out of the guitar, right to your ear. It's just this kind of like, there's a bit of a hollow response in addition to the string sound that you just kind of get out of the guitar. And so if you lay into it, you get a snappy feel, and I like that a lot. This kind of guitar is really good for someone who maybe doesn't have great control of their dynamics or wants to even things out, because it's going to do that. And you're just going to have this really consistent, nice drum. That's why a lot of recording engineers like small body mahogany topped guitars, because it's a really even, kind of recording response.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I want to hear you play it, but then I want to hear your first thoughts, because we literally just got it in. We were waiting for it, and Chris was tracking EPS. So it's truly the first,
first impressions.
Initial impressions. So let's check it out.
All right, take a look. All right, so there you have it. Our first demo of the new AD22e. And I really like it a lot. I like the warm response and the small body to go along with that. And it's very light.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of these guitars. There's a number of guitars like this where it's a very, very thin satin finish. It's light woods. It's small, and the construction is very light on it. And so it's a real kind of joy to hold.
Yeah.
In this case, actually, the neck feels almost slightly heavier than the body. It's a really light resonant guitar.
Yeah, and you know, Chris, when we first got it, his initial question to me was, do we have a 0015M in stock? Because it kind of, obviously mahogany and all that stuff, the body shape, the body size and everything, it kind of, you know, alludes to that. I'd like to hear the comparison and the demos.
Yeah,
you know?
I would say this is a natural competitor to a Martin 0015M. I'd say that there are some upgrades on this. I like the rosette Taylor's doing, if you're familiar with the Martin kind of almost sticker that they do. This is actually maple and then black stained sapele, which is real nice.
Inlay line's really nice as well.
Yeah, I like how they're
inlay.
doing this. So these American Dream guitars don't have binding, but they have this kind of purfling line around the edge that gives you the illusion of binding, and it's a subtle thing that really finishes the guitar.
Yeah.
And then the chamfered edges are very comfortable. Now, one of the things that I've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but on some of the, like the AD17s, depending upon the guitar, it bothers me a little bit right here because you're hitting that side grain of the spruce.
Yeah.
And it's smoother on this case because it's just a hard wood.
Yeah.
And so I really like it. So you played this too.
Yeah, I did mess around on it.
I'll give my thoughts and then I want to hear your thoughts. But I think it delivers everything that you would expect it to.
Yeah.
It's not the loudest guitar, but it's very even keel. It's very easy to play. The short scale is great despite my fumblings with it on some stuff that I'm otherwise used to playing. And I like the warmth that you get out of it.
Yeah. So, a couple things. I believe the 300 series uses a black pickguard, right? Mm-hmm. I like the look of the faux tortoise.
The faux tortoise. They found a
With the
few
mahogany.
extra
They
faux
found-
tortoises crawling around.
They've been stealing them from Martin's faux tortoise factory. So I do like the look. I think aesthetically, all the American Dreams have looked understated, but really nice. I also, the body shape, the wood pairing, that pickguard, everything sort of makes me think of a GS Mini mahogany a little bit. So if you're a big fan of your GS Mini mahogany and you want to kick it up to a full-size guitar.
Notice this is darker though.
Yeah, it is.
So this is stained with what they call urban sienna. So that's not the natural look of mahogany.
It does look nice,
It
yeah,
does.
with the stain. But it's funny because obviously GS Mini is based on a Grand Symphony body style.
Shrunk down.
It's not a GC Mini, but it's a cool
Those are that
step.
big.
Yeah,
The GC Minis are.
yeah, they're tiny,
Yeah.
tiny. But if you are like a lot of people, you dove into Taylor with a GS Mini as your entry level because they're amazing, and you want to kick it up to a full size guitar, this would be a really nice step up guitar from that, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I think the wood pairing is probably a determining factor here because keep in mind, it's not part of the American Dream series, but in this price point is the GT Urban Ash. And the GT Urban Ash is also a smaller guitar. It's actually a shorter scale length than this. Body sizes are very, very similar, but it's a spruce top.
Yeah.
And it's got different bracing. This is the V-class bracing. The GTs have the C-class or cantilevered bracing on it. And so there's some little differences. From a tonal standpoint, though, I think they're very far apart because of the wood pairings.
Yeah.
That Urban Ash is a lot like really good mahogany, and spruce is spruce.
Yeah.
And so that's going to have a decidedly different flavor. But yeah, I think both of those are great compelling cases. If you're stepping up from a GS Mini, you've got two guitars right at about $1,500. Final pricing on this, by the way, check our website, it's alamomusic.com. But they're both in that price range. So which you would choose would probably come down to feel and then ultimately what you want the guitar to do.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know? Do you want it to even out that attack and have that snappiness when you play? Or do you want a lot of the dynamic range? You
Yeah.
know? So.
Or you just get them all.
Or you just
Because a lot
gotta
of people
catch
have
them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think this is a compelling new guitar to the lineup. Small Italian acrylic dots. I still haven't had anyone explain to me what's Italian about the acrylic. But they're nice nonetheless, so.
Yeah, it does look good. It all goes along with like the vibe that these guitars give. Very straightforward, no frills, nice sound. And I think a lot of people probably liked the American Dream line, and like a lot of people find a Dreadnought to be pretty big, even though the Grand Pacific is probably a more comfortable Dreadnought than most square-shouldered. You know, it's round-shouldered to begin with, and it's just a good feel. But if you like that line, it's cool to have a smaller body. You know?
And the depth too, you know, one of the things I mentioned about the feel in the arm is probably that as well. This is not as wide as a Grand Pacific body shape. It's also not as deep. And so this is just a more comfortable, kind of intimate guitar to hold.
Yeah.
Definitely a joy to play. Now this, again, goes for about $15.99 currently and comes with Taylor's amazing Aero case that we have behind us. And so I think it's a good value. This one also comes with a pickup. And as of now, they haven't released a non-pickup version. All of the other American Dreams come with a non-pickup iteration, although arguably we don't sell very many. Most people want the ES2 pickup system in it, have it ready to go out of the box. But as of right now, it's just the AD22e. So I'd like to hear what everyone else thinks about it. They are currently available on our website for pre-order. This is a new release from Taylor, and we were fortunate enough to get this to demonstrate it for you and tell you our opinions on it. My opinion is I like it, and I should own them all.
Yep.
So we'd like to know your thoughts. What did you hear, or what couldn't you hear? Maybe in the pickup or in the demonstration, rather. And are you interested in this guitar? What else would you like to see Taylor actually add to the American Dream line? I'm glad to see they're expanding it beyond the Grand Pacifics. That means that other things could come down, and maybe we can do some market research for Taylor and just say, hey, these are the things we'd like to see. I'm not saying they pay attention to us at all, but nevertheless, let us know what your thoughts are. Good ideas, right?
AD22e.
Yeah, that'd be cool. AD22e with a black top and Ovencall back and sides or something.
That's good for me.
They're very
Sounds
cool.
pretty good.
If you're new to our channel, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos. Keep coming back for more. Remember, at the end of the day, the very best guitar in the world is a Taylor American Dream or whatever you happen to be playing. So keep playing, and we'll see you next time.